is on the verge of bankrupting China because China needs America more than America needs China. Elon Musk points out something to Trump which Trump needed to hear after Xi Jinping announced they are cutting off all rare earth minerals to America. RFK Jr. makes a huge announcement on Fox News, and a federal judge seeks to govern the president from the bench about boys playing in girls' sports. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps me out as a small news organization, so thank you so much. Over the weekend, tension between the United States and China escalated following President Trump's tariff hike. In retaliation, Xi Jinping and China announced a complete halt to rare earth mineral exports to the United States, critical material needed in the production of electric vehicles, drones, robotics, and even things the U.S. military needs. Shipments have been paused at several Chinese ports as the government reportedly works on a new regulatory framework. Basically, they're trying to starve America. With China supplying over 90% of the world's rare earth elements, this move could significantly impact global supply chains and limit access for key U.S. industries, including defense contractors. Now, in a post on X, Charlie Kirk responded to this by stating, "The fact China is stopping shipment of rare earth minerals proves Trump's point. We are blindly reliant on China for our critical needs. If we don't fix it, we are a permanent vassal state of China." Now, Charlie Kirk is clearly advocating for a huge shift, and so am I, because we shouldn't be this dependent on China. Right now, China manufactures a huge percentage of all of our medicine. So imagine if they cut that off. People that need heart medication, cancer medication, all kinds of medication, all of that needs to be brought back home and manufactured right here in the good old United States of America. Now, without these rare earth minerals, we can't have phones, computers, cars, electric cars, trucks, and much, much more. So China is basically pulling their biggest lever right now before they head into negotiations with President Trump. However, Elon Musk pointed out to President Trump that China doesn't control all the rare earth minerals. They are just the one that refines them the most. So that's got to change. Now, Elon Musk is suggesting that this is a national security issue, specifically because the U.S. military and the military-industrial complex literally cannot make weapons of war or weapons of defense without rare earth minerals. So right now, we're completely beholden to China in order to rebuild the military, rebuild our weapons and ammunition supplies. Now, this is what Elon Musk suggests to President Trump. President Trump, it's time to approve the mining and refinement of rare earth minerals in America and push them to also be refined in Canada and Mexico because they are good neighbors. Now, the United States cannot have access to these without China because we literally decided, oh, wait a minute. In order to save the planet, we don't want to do mining here in the United States. We'll just outsource that to other people, right? It's kind of like they keep trying to make big oil and coal do less and less in America. Meanwhile, China, India, Russia, others, they continue to produce all of these necessary fuels. It's making America weak. So Elon Musk is telling President Trump, bring it back home. Now, as the world suffers from growing pains, President Trump is also taking aim at the media, this time launching a massive lawsuit against fake news CBS and Paramount Studios, demanding billions of dollars in damages as he pushes back against media corruption. In a post on Truth Social, President Trump stated, "I am honored to be suing 60 Minutes, CBS Fake News, and Paramount over their fraudulent, beyond recognition reporting. They did everything possible to illegally elect Kamala, including completely and corruptly changing major answers to interview questions, but it just didn't work for them. They are not a news show, but a dishonest political operative simply disguised as the news, and must be responsible for what they have done and are doing. They should lose their license. Hopefully, the Federal Communication Commission, as headed by its highly respected chairman, Brendan Carr, will impose the maximum fines and punishment, which is substantial for their unlawful and illegal behavior. CBS is out of control at levels never seen before, and they should pay a big price for this. Make America great again. Now, not only was President Trump suing them because of the way that they, edited some of Kamala Harris's answers to make her less stupid and to help her win the election, but on multiple occasions in the last week, they have put out simply like lies about President Trump. And for these reasons, he's saying, hey, listen, you guys can have an opinion and you can report things the way you see them, but to flat out lie to the American people, you should lose your license. Now, unfortunately, much of this demonizing rhetoric is deeply harmful. As media-fueled tensions rise, more individuals are resorting to radical and unjustifiable actions. Here's an example. Targets have included Tesla dealerships and even the home of political figures. Yes, that's right. Democrat Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro disclosed that someone deliberately broke in and set the governor's mansion on fire in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Shapiro explained, last night at about 2 a.m., my family and I woke up to bangs on the door from the Pennsylvania State Police after an arsonist set fire to the governor's residence in Harrisburg. The Harrisburg Bureau of Fire was on the scene, and while they worked to put out the fire, we were evacuated from the residence safely by Pennsylvania State Police and assisted by Capitol Police. Thank God no one was injured and the fire was extinguished. Vice President JD Vance stated, thanks be to God that Governor Shapiro and his family were unharmed in this attack. Really disgusting violence. And I hope whoever did this is brought swiftly to justice. We now know who it was. Now, according to BBC News, Cody Balmer, a 38-year-old man, has been arrested and faces charges of alleged attempted murder, terrorism, aggravated arson, and aggravated assault. What we know so far is this Cody guy is a far-left Democrat that appears to hate Governor Shapiro because he is a centrist and not a woke lefty. So you've got Democrats that the mainstream media is getting all hyped up and agitated to the point where they're burning down Teslas and Tesla dealerships, but now they're even cannibalizing their own. They're saying, wait a minute, our governor isn't woke enough. He's not left enough. He's not communist enough. He's not Marxist enough. So what are we going to do? Burn his house to the ground and take out his family. That is absolutely disgusting. The mainstream media needs to report the truth and quit spreading all of these lies in order to get Democrat idiots to violently attack other people. All right, now last week, President Trump said in September, we will have the biggest press conference of all time. What am I talking about? RFK Jr. said they will reveal the cause of autism. Now, my guess is they already know. But big pharma, big food, big chemical, these are the three that are implicated. They have been buying off people, filing lawsuits, scare tactics, the mainstream media that they buy through being 70 to 90% of their income source. Their days are over, right? And they're wanting to have a liability shield. However, President Trump is demanding answers. He's not going to back down. He said the fact that 1 in 31 children now has autism is disgraceful. We must get an answer. RFK Jr. says, we think we know the answer, and we've got 100 of America's best and brightest scientists on. Let's go ahead and watch what he said over on Fox News.
The studies that they did were very, very narrow, and there were about 17 studies. The Institute of Medicine, which is part of the National Academy of Sciences says that 14 of those studies are invalid. And the biggest weakness in those studies is they never studied vaccinated versus unvaccinated group, which is the only way that you can really make this determination. And more importantly, none of the vaccines that are given to children during the first 6 months of life were ever studied. We're going to look at vaccines, but we're going to look at everything. Everything is on the table. Our food system, our water, our air, different ways of parenting, all the kind of changes that may have triggered this epidemic. It is an epidemic. Epidemics are not caused by genes. Genes can provide a vulnerability, but you need an environmental toxin. So we know that it is an environmental toxin that is causing this cataclysm. And we are going to identify it. We are narrowly focused on identifying it and using as many scientists as we can from universities and research centers all over the world to focus them through NIH, through Jay Bhattacharya, to focus them on answering this question.
All right. Now, I love this. I hope you do too. I want answers, right? I don't want to be chronically ill. I don't want children being chronically ill. Some of these children have debilitating autism. Like they smack themselves in the head over and over and over again. Some of them are nonverbal. Some of them have to be cared for the rest of their life. Others are functional, and others end up on a really adorable Netflix television series. However, I think we deserve the truth. And as I mentioned, I think they already know that this has something to do with an environmental toxin. It's either big pharma, big food, or big chemical. Whatever the answer is, I just want the truth, right? Like they've been hiding this, and that's why I want the truth. All right, now I've got more big stories for you, but first, a word from our sponsor. You know what else has been covered up? The insane health benefits of cocoa flavanols. That's the compound found in cocoa that boosts nitric oxide, improves heart health, and regenerates brain cells. But let me tell you what else it does. But I'm actually going to have a Harvard scientist, Dr. William Lee, explain this like he did on a podcast. I think you're going to find this very, very interesting. Check this out.
Done to show that the flavanols in cocoa stimulate stem cells to come out of your bone marrow like bees in a beehive in your bloodstream, and they go out and they find wherever it needs to be repaired. If it's in your heart, they'll fix it. If it's in your liver, they'll fix it. If it's in your skin, they'll fix it. And so we can eat foods like high flavanol cocoa in order to be able to actually get the stem cells to work a little bit better. Now, how do we know this actually functions, it works in people? Well, clinical studies have been done with high flavanol cocoa to show that in like men who are in their 60s with heart disease, they could actually just have 2 cups of dark chocolate hot cocoa a day for a month. Yeah. And they doubled the amount of stem cells in their bloodstream, and their circulation improved measurably. And then what's even more important and impressive is that there was a study called the Cosmos study that was completed recently that showed that eating high flavanol cocoa decreases the risk of cardiovascular death.
Yeah.
Right, over a period
like a statin,
like a statin, right. Exactly. Except made with by eating the same thing that you use to make chocolate. So we're not telling people to go out to have chocolate, which is a confection, which has got a lot of sugar and all kinds of other stuff in it. Yeah. But it's the stuff underneath it, the core of it.
All right. So this is Harvard scientist Dr. William Lee. So dark chocolate. Did you know this? Here's the thing: the flavanols that are the good stuff are found in the cocoa bean, and they're usually destroyed during the chocolate making process. That's where Black Forest Supplements comes in. They've created the first ever high flavanol cocoa powder packed with everything your body actually needs, and it's only 20 calories. You can mix it into a protein shake. You can mix it into your coffee. It tastes amazing. This stuff can boost your body's natural stem cell production. I've been using this for a while now. Brain fog gone, energy up, stem cells. Do some research on them. They are amazing. Now, I've worked out an exclusive offer with my guy at Black Forest Supplement to hook you up with an amazing 40% off promotion, but only for the next 48 hours. And this stuff sold out in the past, so don't wait. Check the link in the description and the pinned comment. Go check it out right now. All right, now, House Speaker Mike Johnson is under fire following a GOP budget proposal that could slash $880 billion from Medicaid. Now, that's not all at once. That's over a 10-year period, so about $88 billion a year. The backlash is especially strong from Democrats and people in Louisiana, where 40% of Louisianans depend on Medicare and Medicaid for health care. While Mike Johnson claims the cuts would focus on reducing fraud, waste, and abuse rather than cutting benefits, critics argue this could be misleading, pointing out that fraud alone doesn't justify such a large amount. However, unless you've really researched and dug in, you don't understand just how much fraud there is in the system. Now, I've shown you guys videos where they're selling a drug for $2,300 through Medicaid that if you were cash pay is $77. I've shown you guys another one where through Medicaid it was $1,200. If you come in with cash, it's $120. So a 10x increase. Now, Johnson stated the president has made absolutely clear many times, as we have as well, that we're going to protect Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid for people who are legal beneficiaries of these programs. There are a lot of Americans who rely on those programs, and we've got to ensure that they're safeguarded. We have to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. We have to eliminate, for example, on Medicaid, who are not actually eligible to be there. Able-bodied workers, for example, young men who are collecting money and should not be in the program. Illegal immigrants who are collecting money and shouldn't be in the program. People who aren't injured or old that shouldn't be in the program. All right, now another federal judge has gone after President Trump. A federal judge has ordered the USDA to release $3 million in funding to Maine that was frozen over the state's refusal to enforce President Trump's executive order banning boys and transgenders from infiltrating girls' sports. The temporary restraining order issued by Judge John Woodcock does not resolve the broad legal debate that requires the USDA to follow proper procedure with withholding funds. The freeze started on April 2nd under USDA Secretary Brooke Rowland and was based on the claim that Maine violated Title IX. However, Governor Janet Mills and Attorney General Aaron Frey argue that the move is unlawful and seek to unfreeze that money while still allowing boys and transgenders to play in girls' sports. Before freezing the fund, USDA Secretary Brooke Rowland stated, "You cannot openly violate federal law against discrimination in education and expect federal funding to continue unabated. Your defiance of federal law has cost your state, which is bound to Title IX in education programming. Today, I'm freezing federal funds for certain administrative and technological functions in school." Now, according to Breitbart News, they stated in her letter, Rollins did not state which program funds are being paused or specific amounts, but she said the freeze would end immediately upon Governor Mills complying with federal law. All right, now, one of Trump's key priorities is ramping up deportation of individuals who entered the country during Biden's administration, and he's setting ambitious goals. President Trump's deputies are hoping to deport 1 million people in the first year, something they're already behind on. Why? Because these federal judges keep blocking them, and you have sanctuary cities that are not cooperating with President Trump or Tom Homan or ICE or Department of Homeland Security. Now, according to the Washington Post, the ambitious plan involves negotiating with up to 30 countries to accept deportees, individual non-citizens from nations like China that are refusing to repatriate their citizens. The strategy, driven by figure like Stephen Miller, include deporting migrants to Mexico, Costa Rica, Panama, and even Rwanda and El Salvador. Trump's team is pushing Congress for increased funding to support deportation, detention, and arrest. but face resistance from Democrat business groups and legal challenges with elite lawyers aiming to delay the process. So basically, you have Democrat governors, sanctuary city mayors, Democrat-run businesses, and Democrat legal teams all working hand in hand to keep illegal immigrants in the country. So they want to get rid of 1 million, but it's going to be hard. And some of these countries are refusing to take them back. But President Trump has applied. Remember when Venezuela said, turn the planes around, we won't take them. And then President Trump, I don't know what he did, honestly. He did something, but right after that, President Maduro was like, actually, bring them in, fly them back. So President Trump met with the president of El Salvador earlier today. He said, we would be happy to take your illegals if they are criminals. If they're not criminals, we don't want them here because we don't want them to become criminals or cripple our safety net programs, which is what's happening in the United States of America. Hey, let me know in the comments, is Trump doing a good job? I support this guy. This is exactly what I voted for. The fact that these Democrat governors, mayors, lawyers are trying to block him is really, really agitating. But I trust that it's going to get done. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Hey, if you could, give this video a like. Hit that subscribe button. We're almost to 2 million amazing truth seekers. I love you guys. Stay amazing. And I will see you